The movie begins with a man named Sathyamurthy, a billionaire philanthropist and kind to everyone. He has two sons, the first is Viraj and the second is Viraj Anand. Kishore is always seen accompanied by his male personal assistant named John. According to Anand, the figure of his father is perfect because he loves his family. Money is not very important to him. Even when he is cheated many times by his closest people, Sathyamurthy remains calm and accepts his destiny. The most important thing for him is to do good. Anand is very obedient to his father. It was proven when his father set him up with a woman named Pallavi, the daughter of his father's business partner, and he agreed. Before Anand leaves his single life, he will go on vacation to Barcelona. Arriving in Barcelona, Anand lives a luxurious life. He drives a cool car, charters a private boat, and goes to a nightclub. Unfortunately, while on vacation, he received the sad news that his father had died in an accident. Soon afterwards, he decided to return to India. After the death of their father, their family life is the opposite. Anand had to deal with his father's stock plummeting, so their family went bankrupt. Even a month after his father's death, many people came to their homes to collect debts. Not long after, there is a man named Fiancé, a relative of his father who only thinks about money. Pida has a beautiful wife, but their relationship is not harmonious because they are not open to each other financial problems. His wife used to buy gold stocks secretly, but now they have fallen, causing him to lose big. Because of that, they did not talk to each other for years and only communicated through paper taped to a board. After the death of Anand's father, Pida came to his house to give advice. He said to everyone that Anand would not have to sell his father's inheritance to cover his debts. He instead ordered Anand to sell his father's shares which he thought had no value so that their family would not fall into poverty. Pida also told him to tell his father's debt collectors that he had no relationship with the debt collectors so he could be spared. However, Anand could not do it because it could embarrass his father's honor. He said he would not cheat and everyone should remember his father as a hero. After that, he signed the payment of his father's debt. Due to this incident, Pida informed Pallavi's father, his younger brother, that now Anand had fallen into poverty. Hearing that, he cancelled their wedding plans unilaterally, and Pallavi also agreed to it. On the other hand, Kishore is a madman because of his father's death. Luckily, Anand has a sister-in-law named Sindhu, who has a noble heart. She remains loyal to Kishore and refuses a rich man's offer to marry him. Even Sindhu is willing to sell all her jewelry to cover the lack of debt of his father-in-law. Seeing her sincerity, Anand is determined to repay her kindness by caring for his niece, Sweetie. Now, Anand and their family have to leave their luxurious house and move to a simple rented house. Sweetie said that she did not like her new house. Anand tries to comfort her and promises to bring her to his old house again within a year. With enthusiasm, Anand began looking for work to support his family. In addition, he also has to pay for Sweetie's expensive school fees. Feeling uncomfortable with him, Sindhu decides to move Sweetie's school to a cheap place. But Anand is adamant that he will not move Sweetie's school and will find a way out. Not long after, Anand visited his male friend's wedding organizer business to look for work. He said he needed money to pay for his nephew's school fees. The wedding organizer owner also offered Anand partner with him to become a wedding organizer team in Odi City. Hearing that, Anand immediately hugged and thanked him because his friend was the only person who wanted to help him. The next day, Anand went with his male assistant, Parandamaya, using a company car owned by the wedding organizer owner. Arriving at their destination, Anand was surprised because the bride who hired their wedding organizer was Pallavi. He called the wedding organizer owner and protested, but the owner reminded him of the wages he had given him. Reluctantly, Anand complied. When Pallavi saw Anand there, she immediately approached him to show that she only loved Yogeswar, not him. Her father saw Anand's presence at the event. He approached Anand and kicked him out. He thought that Anand would ruin his daughter's marriage. Afterwards, Anand used it to threaten Pallavi's father that Anand would tell Yogeswar that he had broken off the engagement because Anand had fallen into poverty. As a result, he accepted Anand's presence there and allowed him to continue working. At night, Anand meets a woman named Samira and thinks she is a naughty woman for holding a cigarette and a glass of alcohol, even though she was only asked to hold it by her uncle. While inside the building, Anand saw her taking a drug which he thought was narcotics. After that, he saw that she had fallen down the stairs. She realized Anand had seen it, so she told him not to tell anyone else about it. Samira then goes into Pallavi's room to ask who he is. Pallavi says he is actually the one who didn't marry her because she chose Yogeswar. Shortly afterwards, Anand and Parandamaya drove around the city in a car. They met an old man named Kodaram Babu, who was going to his nephew's wedding. They both gave him a ride to go there. Soon after that, Rambabu said that he is the eldest brother of Pida and Pallavi's father, but their relationship was not harmonious because of the uneven distribution of their father's inheritance, where he earns less than his two brothers. Not long after, the three of them arrived at the location at the same time as Paida. Afterwards, Paida approached Anand and insulted him in front of many people. Even he said that Anand was a stupid man who did not want to sell his father's shares and instead chose to sell his property to pay off debts, so he did not marry Pallavi because he was already poor. Anand feels sad and leaves. It turns out that Samira heard and saw what Paida did to him, so she chose to approach him. She saw he was crying. Samira comforted him and gave him a tissue so he could smile again. Shortly afterwards, a marital conflict occurred. A large amount of money, such as a dowry, was stolen, so the marriage could not continue. Pallavi's father said Rambabu had taken it and put the money in the suitcase because Rambabu thought it was his due to the unfair distribution of inheritance. However, the Yogeswar family did not want to continue the marriage if there was no dowry. Anand, knowing the conflict, did not want to let the marriage fail. He immediately went to look for Rambabu, accompanied by Parandamaya and Samira, because he felt Rambabu could not be far from that place. And sure enough, the three of them managed to find him. But they couldn't take the suitcase because he passed the suitcase to his son to secure it. After that, a fight ensued. It turned out that Rambabu was not alone with his son, but they had planned and carried out the action in groups. Finally, Anand found the suitcase and they were brought before Pallavi's father. Rambabu's son was beaten badly by Pallavi's father, who was disappointed with his actions because he almost failed his daughter's marriage. However, Anand immediately stopped and alerted Pallavi's father, which should have happened because of a mistake among those who had slyly taken away Rambabu's rights. Even Pallavi's father only cared about his daughter's marriage without seeing Rambabu's life and his family's deprivation. Soon afterwards, Rambabu handed over the suitcase and his white gold ring as donations. Instantly, Pallavi's father realized his mistake, apologized to him, and promised to fix their relationship. In addition, Pallavi's father also handed over the property to Rambabu's son because he deserved it. Pallavi's father is very grateful to Sathyamurthy for giving birth to such a great man as Anand. As Anand was sitting outside, Pallavi approached him. She said that she was willing to be taken away and married to him. But Anand said Yogeswar was more suitable for her so that he would not ruin their marriage. Hearing his answer, she immediately hugged him. On the other hand, Samira is happy when Anand rejects Pallavi, and then she goes to Anand. Samira explained that she did not take drugs but diabetes drugs. Only those closest to her know about her illness. In the end, Pallavi and Yogeswar's marriage went smoothly. After the event, her father gave Anand a bank check in his honor so that he could pay off Sweetie's school fees. After Pallavi's wedding, Anand and Samira's relationship grows closer. He visited her house and asked for her parents' blessing. It turns out that Samira is Paida's daughter. Paida was angry and did not want to approve of their relationship. Anand says to Samira that he will take her away if she wants to be with him. Samira asks his father why he hates Anand so much. He said he was disappointed with Anand's father, who had cheated on him about land. After that, Paida took the paper as proof that before Sathyamurthy died, he had sold a large land to Paida. Unfortunately, Viraj falsified all the land documents and claimed that the land belonged to him. When Paida wanted to ask Sathyamurthy about the certainty of the land, he was already dead. When Paida came yesterday, he hoped that Anand would choose to sell his father's shares instead of paying the debt using his property so that Paida could get his land back. Unfortunately, Anand decided to keep his father's stock, which Paida thought was useless. After that, he asked whether Anand could return his rights. Anand said that he would try to get Paida's land certificate. However, Paida is not sure because the holder of the letter is Viraj Naidu, an illegal tyrant dictator. He also led 21 villages, was king of 5,000 people, and had 600 private soldiers, making it impossible for Anand to take it from him. Determined, Anand accepted the challenge and promised to return Paida's land title within 1 month. If successful, Paida is willing to wash his feet and hand over his daughter. However, Anand only asked him to give a bouquet of flowers to his father's photo and apologized. The next day, Anand met the wedding organizer owner to find a way to get the land certificate. He suggested that Anand exchange the originals for fake ones. He happened to know Viraj's brother-in-law. Maybe he can help Anand to exchange the document. Long story short, Anand and Parandamaya go to the village where Viraj is. Upon arrival, they both meet a man they thought was Viraj's brother-in-law, but it turned out to be Viraj. Innocently, the two of them told him the purpose of coming there was to ask for help exchanging fake documents with real ones to him. After they found out that the man was Viraj, they both turned pale. Viraj was angry and took a knife to stick into Parandamaya's neck. Suddenly his wife comes, so he pretends to be nice. The next day Anand and Samira performed the worship ceremony of Lord Shiva. The event was also attended by a man named Viraswamy Naidu, the brother of Viraj Naidu, with whom they both became enemies. On the other hand, Viraj's men kidnapped Paida and his family to take them to Viraj's house. The night they arrived, Pita immediately scolded Anand for making things worse by involving himself and his family. Not long after, Pita protested Devaraj's attitude, who had kidnapped him. Pita threatened to call the police to report it. But when he called the police, Devaraj laughed at him and hung up the phone. And suddenly, a group of men try to attack Devaraj, but Anand helps and stops them. Devaraj thanks him and asks what he wants. Anand replied that he wanted Pita's land title to be returned. Hearing this, Pita didn't feel happy, but instead felt weak. Suddenly, Devaraj asks Anand to marry his younger sister named Vali. Hearing this, Pita's face immediately turned happy, while Samira became sad. On the other hand, Virajwamy plans to take revenge for the death of his favorite subordinate. He will ruin Devaraj's sister's wedding party. Meanwhile, Anand and Vali's wedding date ceremony begins. They began determining the auspicious days and good times to get married. On the other hand, Pita is happy because his land title will be returned and Samira will not marry Anand. But he still asks Pita to prepare for his and Samira's wedding according to the initial agreement. Suddenly, there is a man named Hubi, who is Devaraj's brother-in-law. He was surprised when he saw a photo of Vali, who was thought to be married to Parandamaya. He went to Devaraj's house and protested for setting Vali up with an old and short man. At the same time, Sindhu and Sweetie also arrive at Devaraj's house. Unexpectedly, Vali and Sindhu are childhood friends. When they asked where Anand's father was, Sindhu explained that her father-in-law had recently passed away, so her mother-in-law could not attend. When Anand finds out that Hubi doesn't like the groom, he takes advantage of the situation. Anand invites him to work together to thwart Vali's marriage, and he agrees. Hubi then spoke to Pita and explained his plan. Finally, they meet Virajwamy to tell him their goals and plans. Hearing this, Virajwamy agreed and ordered his men to sneak into the party and even commit murder. Hubi suggested that Virajwamy's men wear red shawls so he could recognize them and then let them into the party. Long story short, Virajwamy's men came to the party and Hubi let them go. At the same time, Vali's boyfriend tries to do the unthinkable because he can't see his girlfriend's wedding will take place. Luckily, Vali still had time to hold it. Seeing this, Anand invited them both to elope and he was ready to take all the risks. Samira was happy to hear that and immediately ran to hug him. Moments later, Vali intends to run away with her boyfriend, but Virajwamy's men soon catch him, who they think is the groom. Vali, who saw that, immediately threw her bag to make a sound until Devaraj woke up. Instantly, he saves Vali's boyfriend from being stabbed. Then the rioters are finished off by Devaraj and Anand. An angry Devaraj immediately asked who was behind all this while beating up one of the rioters. The man directly pointed at Hubi. His wife persuades Devaraj to forgive Hubi, but he ignores her. Hubi, who was scared, then went into the haystack. Not wanting to go out, Devaraj's men then doused the straw with gasoline. When Devaraj was about to throw fire at the straw, Anand suddenly stopped him. He said that he and Devaraj's sister did not want the marriage. She is afraid of Devaraj and Anand needs his help. Anand admits that he was the one who planned the riots to thwart the marriage because he just wanted Pita's land title back, then won the bet. Instantly, dozens of Devaraj's men rush to Anand. With just a wood stick, Anand can overthrow his opponents one by one. Finally, Devaraj confronts Anand. Soon, Anand's mother came and called him. Hearing his mother's voice, he was not focused and was hit by Devaraj's sharp weapon. Seeing the arrival of Anand's mother reminds Devaraj of one incident. When he, his wife, and his younger sister were traveling in their new car, they accidentally hit someone's car. At that time, his wife was driving the car and she was not yet able to drive smoothly. It turns out that the person they hit was Sathyamurthy, Anand's father. However, Sathyamurthy was not angry and instead helped to push his car. Unexpectedly, Virajwamy, driving a truck, wanted to crash his truck towards Devaraj. However, Sathyamurthy swiftly saved Vali. But instead, he was hit by a truck, so he bounced and was covered in blood. Unable to see this, Anand's mother immediately fainted on the spot. Long story short, Sathyamurthy is already in the hospital. Before he died, he said he sold the land to his friend. But someone has mastered it and doesn't want to let his friend lose his money. However, before Sathyamurthy could tell who it was, he died. After hearing Devaraj's story, Vali immediately approached Anand and said his father died saving her. She would be indebted to Sathyamurthy for the rest of her life. Vali asks Devaraj to release Anand, and then Devaraj leaves them and enters the house. Not long after, he returned and gave the land certificate that Anand's father meant. Kneeling down, he hands over the land certificate and says it's not about his generosity, but the greatness of Anand's father. After that, Anand handed over the land certificate to Pita. He was relieved because his father's good name was now returned again. Long story short, Anand got the good news that he had won the stock. Thanks to that, his wealth has returned, and he can keep his promise to Sweetie to move into his old house. The moral that can be learned from this movie is to keep the good name of our parents, even though they have died.